welcome to Retech, and today we're going to cover something that kind of was meant to happen once a year, but with the current pandemic that's been kind of spreading around the world, things have been placed on hold. And this is a retro computer meet at the Cambridge Computing History Museum. Now, it's a kind of annual event, and it's usually very, very busy, and it's quite a large event really for retro computing and their enthusiasts. But last year it kind of had to be sidelined because of the pandemic, and this computer meet hasn't been on since 2019. That was the last time it was on. So the Retro Computer Festival last year was basically cancelled along with just about every other event of that year. Now this year the festival was back on, and I was kind of looking forward to it, but I think mainly Marcus was looking forward to it, probably a little bit more than I was, because he really enjoyed the last one he went to, and that's where he met a lot of the people that he now goes to see regularly from other museums and other parts of the country. So he was very much looking forward to kind of getting together and seeing the people he saw in 2019 and the people he actually has been seeing since. But it kind of really didn't work out that way, and I wasn't originally going to do a video about this, but I kind of thought it's something that really we need to get out there. And it's not so much for the actual festival itself, it's to kind of try and encourage people to get back involved with whatever they're doing, whether it's the retro computing scene, whatever their hobby is, and to kind of carry on with it as best as possible. Now, without these festivals, you're not really going to get any new people into the computing scene, and without these festivals we're probably not going to see anything really develop for these classic and retro computers, because it's kind of the enthusiasm that drives it, the events that drives it, the people who organize these things, take part in these things and go and see these things, that drive development for these machines and any other kind of classic machine or hobby. And it would be nice to see it get back onto a bit more of an even footing. Now this time round it was not anywhere near as big as it was a few years ago. It seems that maybe the the kind of terror around the pandemic's putting people off, but also the exhibitors weren't there in the same kind of numbers either, so it kind of limits it. But that wasn't to say it was bad, it was actually quite good, and I had quite a few chats with people and saw a few things that I haven't actually seen, such as a remade Mattel Aquarius motherboard, brand new, a new board for these machines that you can actually use in an original case and build and put together yourself, which is fantastic, because as we all know, the Aquarius wasn't that much of a sales success. It's not a very popular machine, and it's nice to know that we can keep these machines going in one form or another if everything else goes wrong with it and we're unable to repair the original boards, which is fantastic. And that's one of the things we wouldn't have seen otherwise. So these events do have quite a big place. So we're going to have a quick tour of the events, and then what I'll do is I'll put on the 2019 episode at the end of this video, because it gives you more of an idea of what it is really normally like, and to try and get you involved in it. So let's take a look at the 2021 Retro Computing Festival at the Cambridge Computing History Museum. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is the entrance to the hallway where the Retro Festival is taking place, and as you can see, it's a very big hall, and it's quite hard to fill, and here's Marcus. He's the one who really has been coming to these for the past few years.
Is that your Land Rover? No.
And he enjoys every minute of this, and as you can see, there's still a fair number of people setting up and basically tinkering with retro computers. And there's enough to see, but as you can probably tell, that there's still kind of precautions for the pandemic as well. Now we have here a Mattel Aquarius. It's not an ordinary Mattel Aquarius, it's a machine that's been rebuilt with a modern PCB and modern components, and it does make a bit of a difference, and it means we can actually get these machines running even if we can't get the original parts for these, which is a fantastic idea. So we also have machines like the Commodore 16, which is quite rare in most parts of the world, and it's nice to see them being used here along with some Japanese models from Casio, and they all seem to be up and running, and they're very rare, and it's nice to be able to see them. And a lot of them are running Gallagher for one reason or another. It seems to be a popular thing for people to run, but you can see that there's still a lot of interest in these machines, and all of the participants are actually taking their time discussing and giving people information about the machines they've brought along today. And including this very rare machine which Marcus is currently having a bit of a play on. So people are starting to come around to going back out again, but it's going to take time, and this was a good start. And again, there is also another machine here, and this is the Aquarius 2. Now the Aquarius 2, there was only 25 built, and we'll just see it pop up in a second, and this is number 24 out of 25. They are really hard to get hold of, and really rare in working condition as well. And there's no real software available for these either, because obviously with a run of only 25 there's not really an incentive to produce software for these, but the keyboard's much better than the original Aquarius. It would have been nicer if the original Aquarius was more like this machine, but as I say, there's not very many around in the world, and there's even less in working condition. And it was the Retro Festival at the Cambridge Computer History Museum. It's a very good turnout for the first time back after such an unprecedented event in human history. So this is the Retro Computing Festival at the Cambridge Computer History Museum. So I hope you enjoyed that brief look at the Retro Computing Museum's 2021 turnout and exhibitors, and I hope it kind of tries to inspire you to take part in these things and to get them back up to where they were only a couple of years ago. With that in mind, I'm just going to show you what it was like in 2019. So please enjoy this next section of the video. Please subscribe, and I hope to see you soon on this channel. So I hope you enjoy the 2019 Retro Computing Festival, and I'll see you soon. We're back at the Centre for Computing History for the Retro Computer Festival, and it's 20 minutes before the doors open and the car park is full. There is literally no space to park your car, it's that popular. And before we go into the main part, or the actual attraction for today, there's a couple of interesting items in the foyer. This Sinclair ZX Spectrum prototype, and it had a real keyboard, which is quite interesting compared to what it ended up with. And there's also a couple of ZX81 and ZX80 prototypes as well, all in the main foyer of this computer museum. Things you probably won't find, well, you won't find anywhere else at all. And this is part of the main hall. As you can see, it's already pretty much packed out with people and exhibits, from prototype ZX81 keyboards and also various other machines that people are unpacking ready for the display, including telecom units, which you can just see there. And basically there's just about every kind of retro computer around, including the normal museum exhibits that you can still play on.
So this is basically, it's an Apple II. It's a Taiwanese clone of it stuck in this tiny little case here. It's Multitech made modem, so this is actually a modem case. They've crammed a computer into it. Ultimately, this company became Acer, who I think is still going around, they're still a PC.
What year was that?
So these are all these three here are 1982. So they're all on the cover of this magazine here from October '82. So these three machines are all launched at the same time. So I kind of made an attempt to recreate the cover here. So of these, this is the one that became a huge hit. This is the 64, and these three disappeared afterwards. So they weren't the winners of that competition.
And as you can tell, people are very enthusiastic about their machines in their collections, even if it's from a humble ZX81 to a Sharp MZ. And that's a good thing, because it doesn't matter what you have, whether it's the recased ZX81 in a fuller keyboard, the black machine with a white keyboard here, or a prototype machine that nobody's ever seen before. It's all down to being enthusiastic about your machine. As I say, if it's a well-known machine like the Commodore 64, or less well-known like the SX or the Aquarius or the Spectra Video, it doesn't matter, because people's enthusiasm about these machines is keeping these old machines alive. And these people who are coming today are not part of an exhibit. A lot of them are just private owners who've brought things like an Osborne 1 to show off, and that's what they enjoy doing. And there's also other museums here, such as this one from Leicester, who brought along quite a collection of classic computers, and you can ask them any question, no matter how small or insignificant you might think it is. They're here to help, and they're willing to answer it. They've also brought along some, as well as the Osborne machines and some of the prototypes here, you can actually see a Dragon 200, which wouldn't have looked at the place at the Dragon meet, and a rare, what looks like an atom-based colour computer from Acorn. Not something you see every day. And they're here to answer any questions, as I said, you would like to put to them. They're quite a friendly bunch, which is, the way most people are who collect these machines. And there's also quite a collection of Sinclair-based machines, such as add-ons for Sinclair machines like the ZX81, and there's also Jupiter Ace, which are getting quite rare these days to find a working one.
And you've got to run left and right, and keep going faster, as long as you can. Get faster and faster and faster. Want to take over? O&P. Quick, move to the left, that's it. You got it.
There's also a selection of video pack machines, which you don't see too often nowadays, and it's nice to see them being collected along with the Commodore Max, which is incredibly rare these days, along with the peripherals for your Atari machines or your Atari derived games consoles.
Let's ask him. Go on, you ask him.
That's a boy eating computer.
So there's plenty to see and do, especially if you are looking at some of the more obscure machines that you may have or may not have seen before.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like inside.
Why is it flashing? It's flashing.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's not just for the adults, it keeps the children interested as well. As I said, there's a natural fascination for some of this kit, and children seem to respond to it as well. So, you know, it's not just for your mums and dads to come along and see. So bring your children along, let them enjoy a little bit of experience of what it was like to use or see this kind of equipment in the past.
Sure, yeah, I mean, some of these machines, this is what I've done to display it. So this is your computer magazine up to 1982, so it's coming up to Christmas, lots of new machines being released. This one here, Commodore 64, sells millions. The other three on this cover disappear without trace. So, you know, here they are today. And they're fine machines, but this one was just some boots and people trusted brand, and you know, Commodore already had a lot of money. They sold a lot of expensive, so they could afford to sponsor it. The others can be a blessing.
The old Video Genie, I used to use those at school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not a common machine.
No, they're not, because they kept them for a while and they changed them to BBCs after.
Oh, yeah, that's where it went.
Yeah.
All got BBCs. That's what I had at school. Well, a Commodore PET.
Yeah.
And then BBCs.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a shame because I thought they were actually alright, to be fair.
They were fine machines. I think they were a bit expensive. Certainly the Video Genies didn't have colour, the Colour Genie.
Yeah.
So, you know, all the non-colour machines like my M80K here all kind of disappeared in the 80s because they couldn't compete.
And also your micro Professor there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one of those for a while. They're incredibly rare now.
They are indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, it's mostly an Apple II.
Yeah.
Lurking deep inside here, made by a Taiwanese company that made modems. That's what this box is.
Yeah, I remember looking at them when I was younger, and I thought, yeah, I wouldn't mind one of them because there was a keyboard for them as well, wasn't there, and all that kind of thing. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
But yeah, the funny case, I think it's just a money-saving thing. They made modems. They had lots of cases that look like
when you stuck it in the modem box.
When you put a multi-tech modem next to it, it's quite clear what they've done.
Yeah, it is quite cool though.
Actually, this keyboard is rather nice, and the plug-in keyboard is pretty horrible.
So as you can see, there's a lot of people looking at a load of different machines, and there's also other stuff to do with it being a open museum as well. You can have a look at some of the micro-controlled toys, such as a big track. And then once you have got bored with that, you can have a go on the big screen and just play a game and while away a few minutes while you're having a bit of a break from all the retro machines. And, you know, the big cassette wall, which is quite interesting to a child, as you can see, and I very much wouldn't be surprised if they didn't want that in their bedroom as a bedroom wall feature by the looks of it. But I say there's a lot more to do than just look at the retro computers that people have brought in, and that's a good thing about this museum. There is always something to look at and something to see. And then there's also things you can do if you're an adult and you want a break. You can go and play on a few arcade games and just while away the time while you're thinking about looking at your next machine, such as the Altair or the Teletype, which is actually using paper tape, as you can see, and it's a fully working machine. And now we make our way to what is arguably the granddad of the microcomputing scene in the UK, the machine that arguably started it all off, and it's the Sinclair ZX81. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed both of these, and please subscribe, please get involved, keep this hobby as much in the forefront of your mind as possible, and let's get more development, more software, more hardware, more ways of repairing these machines, and more interest in them. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Please subscribe. See you. Bye bye.